Hello and welcome to today's video. So today we are looking at DHCP starvation and we are going to see how DHCP starvation works. So simply put, DHCP starvation simply means an attacking machine trying to consume all IP addresses in a defined DHCP pool so that even when legitimate clients connect to the network, they wouldn't get an IP address from the DHCP server. So I have a FortiGate firewall right here, and I have a DHCP set on it with a very limited scope from 10 to 50 within that particular subnet. So basically, we have about 40 or 41 IPs to lease to clients. Now, with my attacking machine over here, I'll check the IP address of my attacking machine. So my IP address is 11.1. Now back on the firewall, you can see that that IP address 11 has been registered to the Kali VM over here. So as you can see, it has this IP address. So I'm going back to GNS3 and I'm going to start one node over here. So I'm going to start the node. Let me bring it here. And this node will get an IP address from my DHCP server. So I have captive portal enabled on the LAN interface. So let me check the IP address. And as you can see, 1.10 has been given to this host. So let's verify from the DHCP server dashboard. And as you can see, we have 1.10. Because it's a Docker container, I couldn't register the name over here. So but then we can see that it has an IP address leased to that particular client. And once I authenticate the the captive portal, I will be able to access the internet. So for example, I can go to youtube.com and YouTube will open because we have authenticated. Right. So now I'm going to start the attack. I'm going to start the attack. I'm going to clear the interface and start the attack. I'm going to use a predefined tool built in Kali, which is called DHCP Starvation, and I'll specify the interface. So currently, okay, before that, let me start a capture on the interface of the DHCP server and start. So Wireshark is up and running. So I'll filter for DHCP. So once we start or once we initiate the DHCP starvation attack, the attacking machine is going to send DHCP offer request with spoofed MAC addresses, numerous of them, to the DHCP server to consume the pool from which you're going to get IP addresses. So you're going to get MAC addresses which will be bind to the IP addresses leased from the DHCP server. So I'm going to start the attack and then let me move it to this side and bring this one to this side. So I'm going to start the attack. And as you can see, we have a discover, we have an offer, we have an act. So what it's basically trying to do is that we have requests being sent to the DHCP server. We are given an IP address, but then those MAC addresses are nowhere found on the network. It's being spoofed by the attacking machine. So as you can see, it will run till it consumes all the IP addresses in the DHCP pool. So currently at 39, 40, and I think by 50, we are done. Okay, so as you can see, we have offer for every request to get an IP address from the DHCP pool. So now we are done with the DHCP pool. Now let's go onto the FortiGate firewall and now let's refresh. Now as you can see, all these IP addresses has been leased, but then these are not legitimate, or these are not real hosts on the network, but then they've been leased from the DHCP server, and then now the DHCP server's pool is empty. Reason being that let me go to the interfaces section, and now when I hover over the DHCP clients, you can see we have client count is 41. Meanwhile, we have only 2 nodes on the network. We have a total of 0 remaining IP addresses for clients. So now back to GNS3. I'm going to start this node and see if we can get an IP address from the DHCP server, which is telling us that all the IP addresses has been consumed. So let me put Wireshark alongside, and as you can see, let me go way up or anywhere from here. So let me stop the attack, and sorry, the capture, and let me scroll up to the first packet. So now we have a discover, was a broadcast, and now we have an offer given. Assign this IP address to a particular MAC address we don't even know. So looking at the DHCP layer, you can see that your client IP address is this, and it has been bind to this MAC address, which we don't even know where it came from. So let's check another one. So an offer, and then looking at the DHCP offer, it has been bind to this MAC address, of which we don't even know, but it's on the network. Right, so now this is a legitimate client who is trying to connect to the network, but then now you see in the previous startup of the first host, we saw that we needed to authenticate, but then this one is different because this one has no IP address, because all the IP addresses on the DHCP's pool has been consumed by the DHCP starvation attack, and as you can see, we have no IP address. So thank you for watching this video, and this is a continuation on the DHCP discover flooding attack, and this one is DHCP starvation attack. So thank you very much, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.